Hey, this is Jogie. Today I'm going to show you how to lube a 4x4. So like the last video, I'm going to be using CRC as my lubricant, but since a 4x4 is much harder to put together unless you plan it out well, we're not going to just take the whole thing apart because that is really hard to put back together. Last time I completely took this thing apart, it took me over an hour to put back together. So what we're going to do is take out these interior edges and then remove the entire top layer without removing the torpedoes there in the middle. So it'll be tricky at first, but once you get used to it, it's not that hard. And just keep doing this until the whole first layer is gone. Alright, so once you've finished taking the first two layers off the 4x4, you can set the other two layers aside. We won't be using those until a little bit later. Spread out the pieces from the first two layers, and if you're using CRC like I am, I'm just going to paint it on like I did in my 3x3 lubing tutorial. But if you're using a different lube, then you have to do it a little differently. So for me, just make sure each piece is clean if you're using CRC, and lay them all out, and then paint the CRC on just like I did in the last video. So I'm going to be going on the sides where the friction is, and then in the interior as well, in that little lip right there, and on the back side. Just any side that's not going to be on the surface or showing, you lubricate that. So for these corners, do each side. And then get the tip of the torpedo there, or the locking mechanism. And do that with all the pieces. And for these center pieces, just get that bottom lip part on the inside and the very edges. Just make sure you don't get it on the part that's going to be showing up on the top, because it'll leave a funny little kind of bleached out mark. Once all of the pieces have been lubed and dried, you can reassemble the first two layers of the cube. Remember which side you did on top. For me, it was white, so I know that the next half I'm going to do is the yellow half. And put the entire core back together. Once the second two layers are off, do the same thing you did with the first one. And lube all the corners and the edges and the centers. Once all the pieces are coated and dried, if you don't want to mess with the springs, you can go ahead and reassemble the cube and be done. But if you want to if you want to lube the springs, you're going to have to take apart pretty much the entire core, and that is a hassle to put back together, so I'm not going to do that. There. Once you've reassembled it, you have a lubed 4x4, and I can tell it's much nicer. This is a Cyclone Boys GE4, by the way. Forgot to say that earlier. It's a pretty great cube. I hope this helped, and if you have any questions, you can ask me down below. I'll be sure to get back to you. And if you like this video, like and subscribe, and that way I'll know to make more videos like this. This is Jogie, out.